Everyone loves ice cream, but ice cream and healthy don't usually go in the same sentence together. But in this case, they do. I'm going to show you how to make an amazing vanilla bean ice cream. And it's healthy. It's got no refined sugar in it. You can make it dairy-free if you want to. And the best thing about it is, it's so simple to make. You don't actually need an ice cream maker. All you need is a food processor. And you can give this treat to kids, but little do they know what they're eating is actually really good for them. This is the best vanilla ice cream recipe ever. It's so easy to make, and I make this beautiful, smooth, silky date caramel sauce that gets drizzled all over the ice cream. It's divine. You need some ripe bananas, about 5 large ones. Bananas are very high in potassium and fiber. So you think of all this banana that's going into this ice cream. It's really, really good for you, a great treat for kids. So now you've got to freeze the bananas until they're really hard. So that will be at least 8 hours or overnight. And luckily I was very organized last night, so I pre-froze some because they're rock solid frozen. It could be quite harsh on the food processor. So what you can do is just let them thaw for a few minutes on the bench, and then they'll be perfect to blend. So let's chuck the frozen bananas in the food processor. So it just goes all in. And you don't just have to use bananas. You can get really creative when you make your own homemade ice cream. So some of my other favorites are kiwi fruit. You can make a kiwi fruit sorbet. Oh, and another one that I absolutely love is black Doris plums. So if you get a big can of black Doris plums, take the stones out of them, freeze them, and then blitz them in the food processor, and it makes the most amazing sorbet. You can use some vanilla extract or even just vanilla essence, but if you're feeling a little bit more extravagant, you could always use a vanilla bean pod. So the way to take the seeds out of the vanilla bean pod is I always just cut it in half so it makes it easier to manage, and then you just cut straight down the middle lengthways, and then with the back of your knife just run that along the vanilla bean pod and scrape out all of the seeds. And don't throw these vanilla bean pods away. I'm going to chuck them in the date caramel sauce. So we need to add a little bit of liquid to the frozen bananas. So I'm using a bit of cream. You don't need much. If you want to make it dairy free, you can always use coconut cream, a few tablespoons. Okay, let's blitz this all up and make the magic happen. So you'll see it kind of goes quite crumbly, good sign. You can just add a little bit more liquid and then just keep blitzing it. This is looking really good. Make sure you grab a spoon and just scrape down the sides of the food processor a few times while it's blending so that everything gets blended up really well together. It's starting to almost look like ice cream, but it needs a little bit longer. This is amazing how something like just frozen banana can be whipped up into ice cream. Look at it. The consistency is just like ice cream. But there's one little secret ingredient we have to add. It's an egg white. The reason I put an egg white in there, egg whites have this amazing ability to fluff everything up. You know how when you make meringue and the egg whites just go poof? So the egg white does the same thing to the ice cream, and it makes it extra light and fluffy. Wow, now look at this. This is just incredible. So you thought it looked good before, but with the addition of the egg white, it just makes it extra fluffy and creamy. And look at that. Isn't that just the most beautiful ice cream you've ever seen? The texture and consistency is so smooth and creamy. And how easy was that? Yum. Just scoop it into a container and we'll put it back in the freezer until we're ready to eat it. If you want to eat the ice cream later, you can always leave it in the freezer for about 4 to 6 hours. It's best eaten within that time because any longer than that, it can start to get a little bit icy. But I mean, because this recipe is so easy, why not make it fresh? Time to make the caramel sauce. So this caramel sauce doesn't have any sugar in it. Instead, I use dates. They're a magic ingredient. These are medjool dates, which are quite a bit softer than your normal dried dates. They have this really rich, kind of caramelly flavour, so they're perfect for a caramel sauce. And they're actually really high in fibre as well. Put them into a pot, add some water. So now we boil the dates until they're nice and soft. We can chuck in those leftover vanilla bean pods just to add a little bit of extra vanilla flavour. So simmer the dates until they're nice and soft and they're starting to mush up a little bit. Take out the vanilla bean pods before you blend everything up until it's nice and smooth. It's pretty smooth, but it's also very, very thick. So what you need to do now is just add either some water, some coconut milk, or some cream. Just a little bit, there you go. And then keep blending, and you can just add more liquid until you get the consistency that you like. I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon to it as well. If you want, you could always make this into a salted caramel sauce by adding a good pinch of sea salt. Yummy! I actually prefer this to your standard caramel sauce that's made with sugar because it's not overly sweet and it has a much nicer flavour from the dates. It's kind of really rich and silky and smooth and caramelly. It's delicious. So you want to make sure that that's nice and cool because you can't put really hot caramel sauce on the ice cream or else it will melt too fast. So just put it aside in the fridge for a few minutes. You can serve the ice cream in a bowl, but I feel like having a cone. Look at that, it scoops beautifully. It's got such a perfect creamy texture. A little bit of caramel sauce drizzled on top. Oh, look at that. And now you can go with whatever toppings you like, but I've got some almonds and some coconut here. Let's sprinkle some of that on top. Got a little piece of chocolate, which I might just put in there. Wow, look at that. A vanilla ice cream with date caramel sauce sundae. Anyone who gets that is going to be really, really happy. You're going to make their day.